You're now listening to Sound Talent Media. Check out more shows at soundtalentmedia.com.
Hey, what's up, everyone? I'm Matt Migaki, the vocalist of Cryptopsy and the host of the Vox and Hops Metal Podcast, where I sit down with fellow metal musicians. We talk all about their lives and music while sharing killer craft beers. If you've ever wanted to sneak backstage and share a beer with one of your favorite musicians, well, Vox and Hops is the podcast for you. This week on the podcast, I dropped a killer episode with Kelly Schaefer of Atheist. There is this episode and over 440 other ones to help you enjoy life, metal, and craft beer. So what are you waiting for? It's time to become a Vox and Hops head. Cheers!
Whoa, hey there. What's going on? No, you're right. This is a new Tone Mob episode, and it has indeed released on Friday. No, you're not losing it. This is an extra episode this week with my friend Ryan Ratajski from Fuzzrocious Pedals. Ryan came on and we talked about his new pedal that's coming out and just had a little catch up, and I thought, you know what? This is just going to go out as a bonus episode. Why not? Let's give the people a little more content this week. They've been working hard and they deserve it. I think you're really going to enjoy this episode, and I want to get right into it, but there is just a small bit of business I want to remind you about before we do, and that is if you've been Stringjoy curious and you've been wanting to try our stuff, but you never have pulled the trigger, Tone Mob listeners right now can get an additional 10% off. You just go to stringjoy.com, check out, and use the code TONEMOB at checkout, and you will get a 10% discount. That is a one-time 10% discount if you use code TONEMOB at checkout. I just want to remind you about all that. That's way overdue, and I need to replace the ad at the end of this episode to reflect that. But since we're here, I just wanted to remind everybody that that is a thing. So if you need strings, go to stringjoy.com, ToneMob10 at checkout, and you will save yourself a little coin. The other quick reminder, if you have not listened to the episode that released on Monday with Gretchen Men, please do so. A lot of people have messaged me saying that that is their favorite episode they've heard in a long time. The playing on that is an absolute treat. There's actually music from Gretchen on it. Daniela and Gretchen played it live right before my eyes, and I think you're really going to enjoy that episode. It's a little bit of a, let's say, just a different take on a Tone Mob episode, but I think you're really going to like it. The amount of people that have messaged me was a bit surprising, to be honest. I knew it was going to be popular, but I just want to make sure you haven't checked that out yet and you don't know who Gretchen is, go over there and check it out. She's going to come back on for another episode in a more traditional Tone Mob format, but I think you will really like that one. So go back to the episode just prior to this one and check it out if you have not already. All right, without further ado, let's get into this episode with my friend Ryan, the most recorded guest on the Tone Mob, I believe. I think that's accurate. I think you're really going to enjoy this chat. Let's get into it. Let's go. Boom. The switch over, really, I would have been okay, but
I realized how ridiculous it looked, and I'm like, oh, did they pick up the first, when it's 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or did it pick up this?
It doesn't. No,
all
it
right.
Doesn't.
Wow.
So anyway, we're leaving all that in.
Yep.
Yeah. Welcome to another episode of the Tone Mob Podcast, the show about guitar stuff occasionally, sometimes. I'm your host, Blake Weiland, and with me today I have one of my favorite people and possibly the most recorded guest as of this episode on this podcast. Mr. Ryan Ratajski from Fuzzrocious Pedals.
How can I get more people to stop listening or watching? Dude, I'm pretty up there. This is 4, 5, 6.
I think it's 4. It's 4. Yeah.
I remember being in the other room and literally
it might be 5 actually.
I think Paul was in here building 420s one day, and I was laying in the other room, laying down amid boxes, having a conversation with you, and it looked like I'm such a lazy ass because Paul's in here soldering whatever, just helping out, and I'm just in the other room having a conversation with Blake about whatever.
We've done that a lot, not recorded though. So
yeah, that's true. That's true.
Mm-hmm. we're just recording what we would normally do. In fact, we were talking for like 5-10 minutes and we're like, yeah, we could have recorded all that.
Yep.
It would have been decent.
Yep. We were talking about
decent
applesauce for everyone who was interested.
Applesauce and death.
Yeah.
You know, which is
two things, they just go together.
It's a perfect combination. You got peanut butter in my chocolate. Oh no.
So my speaking of applesauce and death, so you know how they do the like the body pods when you die, like you become like they plant a tree over your body and your body like fills with truth nutrients, whatever. So that's what my wife once done when she passes. She was,
I feel that
it was that she said, just put me out to rot in like those police forensics fields. And I'm like, I can't do that. Like, I don't know. That's no. But I was like the trade. And
wait. I don't know about these. I need a little. What's the police forensic field?
Okay. So we're gonna get back to applesauce and death.
Okay.
There's like these like forensic fields where they put bodies out and different they see what happens like as they decompose. So they can be like, oh, this is a body that's been, you know, deceased for this long and where it's been and what the weather has been, and they're all over the nation.
You'd think they'd have that all that information already. Like at this point.
We got plenty of dead bodies, so we may as well use them. But so when you said applesauce and death, and I was like, oh, like I wonder what kind of tree Shannon once like planted over. If it was applesauce, like they'd be like Shannon applesauce. That's
right. You could go pick apples from Shannon.
Vegan.
These have a different consistency than Carl's over here, you know.
This test of coconut oil and lack of meat and dairy.
Which could be a good thing in an apple, let's be honest.
All right. Yeah. These glasses got to go.
Can't handle it.
Yeah, we're going. They're like those like awesome. They're super fun, but like not for like looking at human beings. Okay.
Sure.
I guess if you were on shrooms or whatever, it would be excellent. But
who's to say I'm not? We don't really know, do we?
Oh.
Anyway, those trees are kind of a cool idea, actually.
Yeah. I think it's.
I've always told my family, just like, I'm like, what? I literally, you know how people like have lists of like, put me in this and I'm like, I literally will be dead and not care. I will be so dead that it won't matter. And you can do literally whatever you want. I don't care. Like, whatever.
You never know, man. We could all just be standing over our dead bodies for the rest of our afterlife. It's what was that movie? Oh, The Frighteners. Have you ever seen that?
Oh, just looking. Yeah.
They're all just chilling at the graveyard. They're in their spot, doing their thing.
So if you turn into a tree, that'd be like the chillest place to hang out, right? That sounds pretty good.
As long as the tree lives.
Trees live a while. Plant a redwood on it. You'll be good. Like, you'll be all right. Surely. Where are they gonna put you? Are they gonna put you in a tree, or?
Man, I don't know. I think I like the idea of cremation, and then just like, you know, putting them in like some specific place or whatever. But that also seems kind of fleeting too, because it's like your body. I don't know. Maybe just dump my water. Like, go, take my body out to. That's it. Take my body out to international waters. Like, you know, somewhere in like Great White infested area, whatever, and just dump the body and like chum the water and like let me go. Like that would be the like an I don't know, be awesome. I guess
it seems like a useful way to go, right?
Yeah. It would be awesome. Like
it would be cool. Yeah. Like there he goes.
I'm into that. That's going on my will. All right.
It's weird that we're having this conversation, because just yesterday I discovered via the wonders of the internet, I discovered a new way that they basically, it's kind of cremation, but it literally is the opposite. They basically take the body, they put it into a chamber full of hot liquid, boil the liquid until all of the flesh comes off the bones. They drain the liquid out to some sort of, you know, natural environment where it can decompose more swiftly. They grind the bones up and they're like, here, take your loved one's bones and, you know, do whatever you want with them.
Well, you're losing 80% of you, I guess, like 90% of you, and you're just getting like, so the 90% goes to like some waste sludge factory. but you get these bone. That's.
I don't know. I think that's kind of what happens anyway, right? Like it gets
yes.
burned up. Yeah,
but you get all. I don't know. You get more of it if I don't know. Whatever, dude. That's wild.
These are the conversations that only we can have, and only on this podcast. Yeah. No one else could ever go into this territory.
Oh, here we go. This is like a Josh Scott question. Like, who can be the first body that gets like recomposed into like a pedal enclosure,
like a carbon comp resistor, or what?
All of it. Like it feels like a thoughtful Josh Scott question, or even like if you want to go and turn it, it's like a Philippe. It's a Philippe question. Like, well, who would be the first company to put like a human body as a guitar pedal? Like,
who would that be?
You can see Josh like pulling that up and like, this is the first, and it's in like whatever, like a bone enclosure, and he's like, someone sent me this.
I could see him like us asking him that question and him being like, actually, it's already been done, and like pull it out.
Walk back to the shelf.
Yeah. Good stuff.
Oh yeah.
Well, what have you been up to since? I feel like it's possible. I don't know if this is 100% true, but I think the last time you came on might have been right at the edge of lockdown or during the midst of it. Was it that long?
Was it that long ago? Dude, I don't know. I mean, I know we did one of our famous thrice album rundowns.
We did.
So I don't remember. I want to say it was post-pandemic. It might have been around Dark Driving. I'm not sure.
I think it was Little Fella.
Maybe it was Little Fella. So this is well deserved, man. It's been a minute. I've let some other people have a turn.
You did?
Yeah.
What?
You
mean on here?
Yeah. I've had other people.
Oh, you didn't go on other podcasts. That would make me so sad.
No one else asks me to get on other podcasts anymore. I'm not cool.
They don't know what they're missing.
Flavor of the week, baby.
You know, it was really weird going to. It's always weird for me going to GearFest because I'm going there with a bunch of primarily YouTubers, and like being the only one there there's other people who have done interviews and who have podcasts, but I'm the only one there that's their primary thing, is interviewing people. And I couldn't believe how many people were like, oh, I tried it. I hate it. I hate interviewing people. Like, I'm not good at it. Don't enjoy it. I was like, really? It's like my favorite thing to do.
Well, you've got the gift.
It's weird.
You're easy to talk to, over here or even over the phone or then in person. Like you check all the boxes, right? Some people just don't have. It's hard for them. It's hard for them to kind of like shift, especially the way you do. Like you can just turn on a dime and we can just take the conversation anywhere else. Mm-hmm. That sets some people's anxiety off. They just don't have that,
I feel like it. I would like to say it comes with practice, and I think I have gotten better over time. But I really think some of it is just how I am, just natural. Like, sure. I just like talking to people. I love talking to people. When I go on vacation, if somebody sits down next to me at a restaurant, I'm like, "Sup? Let's get to know, Charles here and figure out what he's doing here in Florida." Like, I don't know. I just like hearing people's stories, so it's kind of a natural fit. I was just surprised that nobody there that I talked, everyone that had tried interviews said they didn't like doing them, and I was kind of astounded by that.
I guess they don't want to diversify.
I guess not. Hey, I'll take it.
Yeah,
I got this one thing, baby. Let me have it. That's all I have.
Oh, you got your fingers in lots of pots. I know you do. So getting back to your question. Your question was, dude, what you been up to? So since we started coming out of pandemic, along with just grinding on pedal stuff, it's been volleyball. It's my jock thing, man. I came back to it. My son brought me back into it, and I just fell in with this like wonderful group of people. And I'm at the point now where I'm kind of doing like a lot of management work for the company, and then teaching like right now.
Back to teaching, a different kind.
It scratches the teach. So for those who know, I was a preschool teacher and preschool teacher mentor for like 13 years. It was a get off the pot situation, and I love doing pedals more. So here I am. But it came back around to this, and the opportunity kind of presented itself to start teaching again. And these guys at Quandamania just pulled me in and lifted me up, and buddies like my buddy Chemo and stuff just have taught me so much, and it lets me scratch the teaching itch all over again, and I can send the kids home after 2 hours and move on. And like for me this summer, I mean, for those NARPs, non-athletic regular people,
me.
you can
It's
do
me.
The guy who is jacked and lifts.
Yes, but that's for non-athletic people.
But no,
you know?
but that's still athletic. You're still a jock. So
a little bit.
I do right now. I'm doing a lot of 2-a-days. So I'll split in the morning and do training sessions in the morning, and then run down to a different location and teach somewhere else for another 2 to 4 hours. So like my summer is jam packed. 4 days a week.
Wow.
Plus, just playing for myself on the weekends and stuff, and doing tournaments and all that stuff. So that's the other half of my life in terms of like what I've really been up to. And we're just busy as hell with the kids because they're 12 and 15 right now. So it's a lot of running around, a lot of coordination, and it's super duper busy, and I'm really grateful for it because I'm physical. I'm outside, like I'm in the best shape of my life, and I don't have to worry so much about like pedal sales every single month and doing this and getting that. It's allowed me to kind of compartmentalize and focus on each part of my life, and then work out my times for them. So I think it's healthy, mentally healthy too. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So were you into volleyball back in the day?
Yeah.
Was this something you came back to? You kind of said that. I don't think I knew that about you.
Yeah. In high school, I got pulled up in middle school by the coach. He came to our middle school to come and just see like this volleyball day or whatever that was happening at the middle school, and was like, oh, these two kids should come up and train with our high school group. So we did. As a freshman, I immediately went to the JV team, but I played varsity. So that was like huge. And then by 10th grade, I was on varsity. So it was, all the way through, and was going to go to college on a volleyball ride. Like it was a full ride thing and all this stuff. And what set me off, because I was such a punk back then, like everything was about punk rock and whatever else, and about just like bucking the system. When I went up to East Stroudsburg and met this coach, he's like an NCAA guy, all this stuff. And he looks at me, and for those that know, I'm tall and on the quote unquote thinner side. It's a normal dad build, but
you look like a volleyball player.
Yes. But he looks at me, he's like, oh, you're going to need about 50 pounds of muscle on you. And I'm like,
50?
I mean, he was exaggerating, but in terms of like, at high school, it's probably like, if I was 160, it was a lot. Maybe at that point it was, 6'3", 6'4", but thin. And we walked out, and I was telling parents, I was like, that. Like, that's not. They're like, what are you talking about? Like, I was like, no, don't want to do it. And I just like shoved it off. Like, wow. In the years following that, I just kind of shoved it off and forgot about it. And just
So did you not like it as much as you do now?
I love it way more than I did then. And I loved it so much back then, but it just having my relationship with my high school coach was really, really volatile. Like I screamed "fuck you" at him during my senior season on court, got thrown off the court. Like it was a whole thing. Again, I was a punk. Like I didn't give a shit. And looking back now, like I realize what an idiot I was, because I had something really going for me and could have been really happy doing it. Or maybe I just made all the right decisions, and coming back to it in your 40s is awesome.
I think it's difficult, and I have a tendency to look at things through a lens in which is not super healthy, which is I shouldn't have done that. I shouldn't. Yeah. Mistakes are mistakes. We know generally when we've made actual mistakes, but sometimes when I look at a career arc, I'm going, I wasted so much time on things that were very clearly not in my wheelhouse, and I just did them because I thought that's what I needed to do.
Totally.
But in reality, I wouldn't have found it along any other path. So there's no point in regretting that. It's not helpful. It's not healthy. It doesn't do anything to sit there and go, oh, I wish I woulda, coulda, shoulda, like whatever. It didn't happen that way. It happened the way it happened. Are you happy now? Yes or no? That's really the end of the day question. And so,
sure.
I don't tend to think that it's super useful to dwell on whether you should have, but if you're happy now, that's what matters.
Extremely.
You know?
Yeah. Shan and I talk about that kind of stuff all the time of like, it's that sliding door situation. Like had you not done this, and like, then we wouldn't have met, then there wouldn't be that. Like, I'd be miserable. I
wouldn't have set myself up to be able to do this in the way that I do.
Sure.
That's the other side. That's like the total harsh reality is if I hadn't, worked 3 jobs at the same time for a very long time, then I wouldn't be able to do this. Yeah. So what's the point in beating yourself up about it? There's no point.
Yep. And so all the kids thinking about college and whatever, I don't know, is the demographic going into college at all? Just think about it differently, because you don't know what the heck you really want to do. Just slow down.
So your kids are getting a lot closer to that. The mine are still about, they got a long time before that's a serious conversation. But I've always wondered what I would tell them when the time got there. What are you leaning towards now as far as that goes?
We'd like them to have an idea more about like what they'd really like to do. Like that, like they both love animals. Like Raven definitely wants to do something with horses and stuff. And so you're like, okay, well, we have, since they've been little, we've had really open conversations with them that like college isn't the actual answer for everyone. Like you don't have to do that. Or like you could also just go and get your associates, like go to the local county college. Most of them are free at this point in Jersey. So why not go for 2 years, live at home, save some money, figure out what you like, try some things and then move on. Or like, but we also don't want to balance my kid is 25 and hasn't done anything and is like just mooching at home, sleeping all day. Like that's the other half of it. Is like, we just want to help them find the thing that they like, and then let's figure out how you can make that happen.
But take some initiative, right?
Yeah, but also don't decide like you need to go to Notre Dame and spend $65,000 a year, and then get there out of 4 years and be like, yeah, I don't want to be a teacher. I'd like to be a cook. Like, yeah, that's wild. Because how many people do you know that have college degrees for things that they are not working in professionally?
Most people that I know that have college degrees.
Right. Exactly.
So it's like, again, like, did that help them? Yes.
Sure.
Was it a bad choice? Not necessarily, but a lot of them, not all of them, but a lot of them would say, probably didn't need to do that.
Yep.
It's one of those things. I think that's different than regret. It's more like in the lineage of life choices that you've made. It's like, that didn't really help me in the same way. And that's, I guess, you shouldn't dwell on that too much either. But I think that's kind of our job as parents that are in this age range, because we were pushed. This is the only way.
Yep.
This is the only thing that you're going to be able to do. If you don't do this, life is going to suck.
Yep. You're going to be a loser. That's just it. You're going to have nothing. So
yeah, which is total nonsense. Like,
Yep.
Totally.
Yep. I mean, look, the generation that our parents are coming out of is also, that's the same generation that didn't believe in divorce, or didn't believe in therapy, or didn't believe in anxiety, or, there's it's a whole list of things. So every generation we learn new things and we figure some things out, and, sometimes we can fix those mistakes, but I think it's with age and experience comes wisdom. So,
yeah,
or should come wisdom. So we've all got something
to
teach.
Yeah, it should in theory. Yeah, I feel very fortunate that wasn't like, I say that that's what our generation was told. Fortunately for me, that it isn't the only thing I was told.
Right. Yeah, not the only thing, but yes.
Yeah. But like, I mean, my dad was very much like, you don't have to do that if you don't want to. Like, you can do, there was a narrower field of options than there are now, but that's just what it was. This wasn't an option. This didn't exist. So I can't sit here and be like, well, he should have told me to like go into radio or something, because that would have been a bad decision ultimately for me as well.
Oh
like
God.
That's
you being the dude on the radio. It's like, hey, we're like doing the thing.
You want me to do it? I can do it.
Yeah, go.
Yeah. Hey, we're walking up at WDZZ 274 in Portland, Oregon. There's an overturned semi on A84. You're going to want to watch out for that. This segment is brought to you by Nestle. Nestle, sucking all the water out of all the municipal supplies so you don't get any. Oh, wait, I just got fired.
Yeah, they just dumped all that out. Okay.
Yeah. I wonder if this will get demonetized.
Oh no, sorry.
Not that I'm not monetized anyway. It doesn't matter. What do I care? I'm just here doing my thing. We got so off track. So you've been volleyballing,
Yeah, dude. Yeah,
like hard, but that's not it though.
Oh, dude. We got two. Well, kind of three new things. So we put out our first like iteration of a chorus pedal. Did a really small run with the Chamonix Creek Brewery. It's a pedal called Cosmic Bull Shark. So we took our old egg sack circuit, which is like a boost, drive, and distortion, and it sits inside the wet loop of a chorus. So it's very focused, very specific. It's a completely unique take on the chorus sound, and we haven't done like modulation like that. This was originally supposed to come out after the big release that happens on July 14th, but time slippery. So I pushed that big release back. We put out this thing, and it's awesome. And for those that are interested, we still have some left. But again, after these are done, we're not making more. And the other big thing is we started a TikTok.
Woo!
Yeah. I literally waited until the exact last moment to like set up an account and do all that stuff. But we made a TikTok, and it's called Fuzzrocious, Fuzzroriffs. So if you're on TikTok, you can do that. It's not like just photos of our pedals. It's like a 1-ish minute like riff take on a sound on guitar or bass through one of our pedals. And it's just trying to hit that, like the thing that TikTok is interested in, what all the IG reels are interested in. We should be making short videos because that's what people are looking. They're looking at short videos. So what better way to show what our pedals can do to people who are just swiping and swiping and swiping or whatever it is on those platforms. And it's been nice for me because I'm able to just like let it go, let Paul and TJ, shoot the video and have Paul put it together, and just let somebody else share the responsibility with me of running all this, because I can't do this alone. And it's really nice to see, Paul develop a voice and a vision on there, and kind of like, actually, because he kind of said to me, he's like, I'm loving helping you solder and stuff, but like, I'd really like to do more video production. Could I make more videos? I'm like, yes, because we don't have any time. We have no time to shoot video in my day. I'm just soldering my butt off. So like, just go for it. So yeah, so we made a TikTok. It's been interesting. Like I'm only following Vin Diesel and Guy Fieri.
That's all you need to follow. That's all you need.
I was like, oh, let me just kind of commit to the whole bit here and like just be that account that follows 2 people. I don't know if that actually hurts your account that you don't follow anybody or follow back or whatever. I don't know what that does to an algorithm, but
I don't think it matters too much. I think it's more about what you do.
Yeah.
Like as far as like, I don't think that they care as much. They're not going to like, for instance, not that I'm a TikTok expert. I don't even really like it that well, to be honest, but we've been doing way more with it for Stringjoy, and none of us are really on it that much. Not like we are with other things. Like we don't pay attention to the comments as much as probably we should over there, but we do upload things. Like we made this reel or this TikTok video, better put it on TikTok too. That's what it's there for, right? So we've been doing that, and it hasn't seemed to matter that we're not spending a lot of time. And that's a little bit anti how I've always done social media, to be honest. Like I've been very anti, like just dump things and leave. I like to engage with people. I like to talk to people. I like to be involved. I just don't enjoy that platform. I just don't. Even though the Instagram is sort of morphing a little bit that way, it's gone back and forth enough that it's kind of still kept some of its original intention and character. Hasn't completely TikTokified. So I still spend more time over there.
Same.
But maybe we're just old.
Yeah. We're hanging on the wrong platform, man.
Hey, Threads dropped yesterday, and I'm having a blast over there. It's basically Twitter, but not Twitter. So I don't know. I'm being as belligerent as possible. That's my goal over there.
Boy.
Just like I'm just saying I like today, I'm like, hey, we wearing shorts on stage or no? You know, and you know,
I think I probably bring up like Botch or like Brian Cook every time, but when Botch would announce that they were finally getting back together and they were posting old photos and like Dave and Bri are in like they're in shorts or whatever, and you know I texted over to Brian, I'm like, just obviously you're not going suspenders. I'm like, please bring back the shorts. He's just like, it's just not happening. Like,
come on.
I am, especially if you're going to go like 5 or 6 inch inseam shorts, like let's bring that back on stage. Like let's just embrace that thigh. Let me see some thighs up there.
Let's just go for it.
I don't care who it is. Just give me some shorts on stage and like let's just go.
Hi, I'm Vincent, and I'm here to talk about the Maris Mercury X. My dad's always going on and on about how cool Maris is. He really went off on one about the Mercury X the other day. He said something about a 4,800 hertz sample rate and 99 preset locations in 33 banks, and something along the lines of the most advanced reverb pedal ever devised by man? That's all true, but I only care about one thing. This pedal sounds sick. So make sure you check out the Mercury X and all the other fine products at maris.us, as well as fine retailers worldwide. All right, Dad, now can I have my Pocky?
How exactly do artists get their music on Spotify, Apple Music, Deezer, Tidal, all these services? How in the world do you get your music there? Well, in the past, you had to use something called a record label. But these days, you can use DistroKid. DistroKid is the absolute easiest way to get your music up on streaming services. And it's the most affordable way to do so. Not only do plans start at $22.99 for the entire year, that's less than $2 a month, DistroKid also does not take a cut of your streaming revenue, unlike some other services out there. Even better if you sign up by going to tonemob.com/distrokid. That's tonemob.com/distrokid. One more time, that's tonemob.com/distrokid. You'll get 30% off. That's right, 30% off their already extremely reasonable prices. So go to tonemob.com/distrokid and get your music out there. I've been going back a little bit the other direction, weirdly enough. I've been going with not quite to that level, but I've been just pretending that 2001 never stopped happening, and I'm just Dickie shorting it the whole way.
Ooh.
Yeah. And it's been a good life. It's been a good way to live my summer. I'm really enjoying going back to the Dickie shorts. I love the cell phone, quote unquote, pocket that's too small for your cell phone, but perfect for your wallet. So you don't have to sit on your wallet and it's always with you. And you still have your front pockets.
Interesting.
I'm committed to that Dickie short life during the summer now. That's just going to be my thing.
Dude, you got to get the photo with like the South Philly white tank top and like and just that, or like do just the single button.
Single button
at the top. Let it hang.
The long white socks pulled all the way up.
Yo, like speaking of, did you see those Adidas corn?
Yes, I did, and I was so close to pulling the trigger. I'm not even lying.
I almost did. I am not. That is not my style of shoe, but dude, they looked good.
I was so like, I was like, oh, I don't need that at all, but I do.
Those are the kind of shoes I'd keep clean. Oh man,
yeah.
Like yeah. Oh, they're rad.
Yeah, I would have kept those crispy and only busted them out for special occasions, like this one. That's when I would have wore them. You know?
Just keeping the leg up the whole time, like so. It's
I've just been like, I'm standing. It's kind of hard, but we'll try.
Oh man,
this is why I love talking to you.
Corn,
you never know.
It's always
now we're talking about new metal again. I think we talked about new metal last time.
Oh, we definitely have. We absolutely did.
Mm-hmm.
Those homies are on tour right now. The Resistor guys.
Yeah, they're great.
Yeah,
are they coming to Portland?
I don't know. They also never come to Philadelphia, so. But I'm just like, dude, more bands of the DJ in 2023. It's wacky. I love it.
Let's bring it back. Let's do it. For anybody that's didn't listen to that episode, there's a band called Resistor. They're fully embracing the new metal thing, and I'm 100% here for it.
Yeah,
I don't care what anybody says.
Yep.
I made a Jeff Hardy meme the few weeks ago that nobody really understood. I thought more people would. When I was like, "Don't say you like new metal if you don't know who this is," and it was just all these pictures of Jeff Hardy.
Oh boy!
But nobody understood it. I mean, a few people did, but not as many as I would have expected.
I remember when the Hardy Boys crossed over, and it was a big deal.
Mm-hmm. It still is a big deal to me.
It was always rad seeing wrestlers come over from one, like if you're coming over from NWO or whatever, not NWO. What was the
WCW?
ECW. When you like
oh yeah, it was ECW
like
then.
Sandman came over or whatever. Was it Sandman, right? I don't know.
It's all a little bit of a blur.
Yeah,
that time period.
But that was like sitting in the dorm room era of like, oh my God, he's a good guy now. Oh, this guy's here. This guy went from WCW to WWF. Yeah, it's wild.
Yeah, we don't have that. Well, I take it back. There's some interesting stuff going on in the wrestling world. I'm shocked to see Andy from Every Time I Die, like, dude, how far he's taken it. He's taken it way further than I thought he would. I'm not because of skill or anything, just I didn't know he was that serious. He's dead serious.
He's always been into it, always been serious, but like it's wild to look at his body type now. Like he's getting into a cut phase right now, and it's like it's really interesting because I've always seen him as a top heavy guy, and he's like
big,
like
scary looking.
Yeah. And it's just it's so rad, and it's just like every time you see him on something, whether he's posting it or someone else talks about it, you just the little smile goes in the back of my head of like, that's Every Time I Die. All right, here we go.
Right.
Cool. All right.
Look at him body slamming that guy. Yeah, look at him go. He's got him. I love it. He's great.
always been nice to me and to Shannon and me. Whenever we could, like whenever there was time to make time, he's always given us time, and I definitely appreciate that. He's always been very, very nice to us.
That's all I've ever heard about that guy.
Yep.
So that makes it even better. Shout out Andy.
Yeah.
Yep.
The Edgeman.
So what were we talking about? How did we get here?
We went off topic. The last new thing, the last like big thing.
I'm so surprised that we went off topic. I'm shocked. Oh, this thing?
So it's Tyrannosaurus.
Look at that, everybody.
This went through a couple names, and like out of nowhere, like we were just thinking of like what could be iconic and would stand out, look different. And I was initially going with Shark Cage. Okay. I was just my shark thing. I'm like, there's a gated fuzz in this that exists inside the wet loop of the chorus. So it's like it's like that Cosmic Bull Shark, but it goes in the gated fuzz section. And since the start of time, since the dawn of time, whenever we have a pedal board out and you get folks that come through at these events, there's always one out of every 3 or 4 people is like, oh, do you have a chorus or do you have a modulation? And it's always been no, I don't, I'm never going to do it. And the opportunity presented itself, and we decided to make a chorus. After we did our phaser Electric Ocean, we're like, all right, like we can do this now. Like we can think of this in a different way. So, and I go back in my head, Liam Wilson had told me, plays currently in Flames, formerly Dillinger Escape Plan. He's still in John Frum. He had said to me a long time ago when we were just, might have been around the conversation of like our brand is called Fuzzrocious, but we don't just make fuzz pedals. And it's always a thing when people come over and like, oh, so just fuzz. And we're like, no, actually we have a reverb and here's a phaser. He had said, you always have a unique take on what a fuzz can do and what it can be. And he's like, if you try to branch out too much and do too many different things, like it kind of waters down the fuzz piece of your brand, and that you're really good at that. So you should stick to what you're good at. And it's always just this echo chamber in my head of like that every time we're coming around a release. And, especially since getting into adding that fuzz to the phaser, that's kind of like the goal moving forward for me mentally is like, it has to feel like something Fuzzrocious would do. And like, why just make a chorus? So you can be like, oh, I have a chorus. Or,
Right.
we have a phaser. Like I have one of everything that's out there. Like that's boring. And let's face it. Like if you want a chorus and you just need a chorus, go get a Boss chorus. If you want a little bit more, then you go get a Walrus. Like, Old Blood has how many offerings that have some type of chorus in it. You have so many wonderful options out there to just have a chorus that warbles or whatever, your shimmers. But what would Fuzzrocious do with it? And I'm like, well, let's get gross. Like, so a gated fuzz in that wet loop really gives you a unique sound of what the heck a chorus can actually be. And
Yes.
And that's what we did. So it's a bypass that puts the whole pedal on. If the pedal's on, then you can turn the gated fuzz on and off. And then the big kicker here, is this top-mounted momentary. So as far as I can see, I don't know of another brand that was able to fit 3-foot switches simply on that 1590 BB, the quote-unquote normal size guitar pedal, let alone at the top. And I'm like, well, how are we going to fit this? And it just like works out that like the profile sits above your knobs. You don't have to worry about all of this. And it sends your chorus rate all the way to into like full flutter. So it's awesome to be like slow chorus and then just into fast chorus and back it back off and just jump around. It's a real oh my God, it's a real House of Pain situation. I was like, it's not Naughty by Nature. It's House of Pain.
That's how you explained it to me before I got to try it. And you were like, yeah, it's a real House of Pain situation. I was like, is it really? And then I tried it.
Got to jump around.
You do got to jump around. You have to.
But yeah, dude, like that's the big thing. And I've been like building a load of these, and we're doing special dealer colors and stuff. So just as an example, like if you wanted like bright neon green, you'd go to Martell Music and get the bright neon green one or whatever. So we're doing that fun thing again that we've done with a few times, like with Croak and 420 Fuzz. And for direct stuff, we're gonna have these awesome sunglasses and candles with Uncle Ron, and probably some stickers and stuff. So yeah, man, it's with all of that said, it's like balancing that volleyball life, my family life, and then making my time for pedals just my time for pedals has been great. And it's the flow just feels good.
I feel you, man.
Yeah,
it's tough to try to find that balance, especially early on. I think it gets a little bit easier as you do it for a long time. How long have you guys been doing this now? 12, 15 years?
I've been making pedals for 15 years. So,
okay.
And we've been, just selling, on really small when we started, it was just to friends and stuff. But it's been like really serious for like the last 10 years, something like that,
It's weird to think about. And I know I've told you this a million times. I don't know if I've told you on the podcast, but maybe I have. But I remember, I have this very vivid memory of my old computer room in my house where I was sitting when my buddy Leon was like, hey, you got to watch this little mini doc. And I was like, what is it?
Yeah.
And he's like, we were just like discovering, not just discovering, but like we were like bright-eyed and bushy-tailed in the world of like boutique guitar effects and like the world of exploring sounds and tone and all that. Because I think we had both like just recently got our first tube amps or something like that. I don't remember. But I remember him telling me I needed to watch that documentary when on YouTube, and it was about you guys. And I was like, look at this. I can't believe that this is even possible. This is wild that this family can do this, and I think it was probably right around ish that time that you went full time, I believe, if I'm remembering the timeline correctly.
Yeah, I think Shannon had already left, and I was preparing to leave, or maybe it was that summer that I had just quit my job.
Yeah. And it was a
Yeah.
reverb thing, right?
So it started out that the company that came is called Alter TV, and then so they were like kind of like they were like a startup with like investors and stuff, and it was just like they were going to try and shoot as many cool docs and things as they could and see if they could grow their brand. And they had shopped it after they had started putting it together. They started shopping it around, and Reverb picked it right up like immediately and was like, yeah, we'll do this. We love working with these guys. So yeah, and it's when they came out to do the interview, like they were just like, oh, we're gonna come out and like see how you do things. As they started asking questions and I started giving like serious answers, because the face of the company was just so silly and goofy and fun.
Yeah.
And I started actually like saying like, this is really hard. I have like a house and a mortgage and like kids, and like trying to really like do this thing I love, like it could all fall apart. And they were like, oh, like after like the first day, they're like, oh, the tone of this has to shift. Like this is about this family working really hard to try and make something out of nothing. And it turned into that. And it's so funny. Like you see some people and like, I don't read the comments much or whatever, but like everyone, every once a year I'll go and I'll look and it's like, oh, has anybody looked at this and said anything, say anything mean? And you'll get like guys who are like, oh, take yourself less seriously, whatever. Like, and I'm like, you realize that like, if you want to do this full time, you have to take it seriously because it's paying your bills. If you have employees and stuff, like it's your job to keep them insured and all this stuff. And like, yeah, it has to be serious. Like it can't just be all smiles on the front and behind your boohoo hooing. Like, just be honest. And then it's been nice to see other people who are just like, oh my God, this made me want to buy your pedals. Like, I'd love to support a family doing this stuff. Like, so it's like, I think it's probably that's your cross section of people anyway. You're gonna be people who are like, yeah, this speaks to me, and other people who are like, I need to say the meanest thing I can.
It was inspiring to me. I was just like, the fact that there was somebody that I could tell was not in the exact same situation, but similar situation to me, where it's just like, I don't really like what I'm doing. I wonder if I could do something else. And that was like one of the first seeds that were planted in me, seeing that it was actually possible to do something else, to step out of the quote unquote normal routine and try. And I thought, I don't know, I had no idea. I wasn't even, I think the podcast was still maybe, I want to say at least 3 years away, maybe even more.
Yeah.
I don't remember exactly when that came out. So I was not even close to being in the headspace of, well, maybe I can do it too. But it was one of the first things I saw where a normal person was kind of taking the reins and doing something they wanted to do, and somebody I could relate to and understand, and kind of came from the same music scene and all that jazz too. So I was like, wow, this is crazy. I think I watched it like 3 times when I first found it.
Sick. Getting that monetization on my end. No, I don't see any money from that.
I didn't know that, like, so I remember when we first started talking, I think via Instagram or email, I don't even remember. I was still at the terminal.
Was it MySpace?
It wasn't.
It wasn't MySpace.
I never had MySpace.
It might have been Instagram. It might have just been email, dude.
It might have been just email. I can't remember. I just remember talking to you on the phone and being like, this is the guy from the documentary. This is so weird. I'm like wearing my hard hat and like, you couldn't see me obviously, but I was like in my full fire retardant suit and just all sweaty and disgusting. And I was just like, this is weird. This internet thing is sure something.
Yeah.
And now fast forward like all this time, it's weird to be nostalgic for things that were only like 5 years ago.
Yeah.
But I don't miss that. I don't miss that particular situation in life because I was way overworked trying to do this, but I do have a lot of really good memories from that time of the first time I would meet people who became friends and become close connections in this industry, because I was so far outside of it. I just didn't see how that was even possible at the time, and that was the first stages of it being possible. So you were there in multiple ways that you may not have realized.
Thanks, man.
Yeah, it's good times. You remember the train? I think the train went by during your episode.
Maybe the first episode. There was definitely the beaver never showed up during an episode, but beaver definitely showed up during our phone calls.
Yes. Oh man,
that was
the
like
beaver.
A vivid memory of mine, because I, as I'm talking to you and you talk about there's like stuff clanging or whatever. I'm I'm trying to picture the room that you're in, and then like, yeah, the beaver is always there for me in my mind.
I don't know if we've ever publicly talked about the beaver. Maybe I have. The beaver is a literal beaver that lived in the Willamette River here in Portland. And the old job I was at had a boathouse. And it was my responsibility to go clean up all the beaver poop out of the boathouse, because he would crawl up in there and poop everywhere, like everywhere. And so it was my job to go down there and scrub the beaver. So it was cute to see the beaver. Oh, look, there's the beaver. But inside I was like, if I could, I would throw a rock at you right now.
Yeah.
If that was at all possible, I would definitely take actions that would be hazardous to your health, Mr. Beaver, because you're making my life not very fun. But yeah, those were good times.
we're currently watching. So Shannon and I love watching. We are not campers at all, but we love watching, survivalist and kind of stuff. So we're watching like Alone and stuff. So we're watching whatever like the newest season is that's on Hulu, and there's been like a couple beaver catches throughout. So and they come up and like I legitimately thought of the old spot for you, because like Blake could have totally done this. You could have got it, could have skinned it, could have preserved it, could have used the tail as a plate.
I wanted to. There was a lot of fibers of my beings that wanted to kill that beaver. I'm not gonna lie. I can't say that I didn't have that urge.
So,
but
you're a cookout connoisseur, a man who's eaten many a meat. Have you eaten a beaver before?
No, I have not. That's not one that I've explored just yet. I have had mountain lion though.
Interesting.
Yes. It was that's probably the weirdest one I've had. I've had mountain lion, I've had alligator, which sounds weird to people around. It sounds weird to people here because there's no alligators.
Sure. Yeah.
But it's pretty normal. Like people eat alligators.
Absolutely. Alligators and rattlesnake are quote unquote normal. Like they're just not typical, right?
They're just it's like regionally typical, right?
Yeah.
But mountain lion, I have found that most people are like, "What? You hit a mountain lion?" Yeah, somebody at a hunting camp shot a mountain lion, and it was legal, and they had a tag and all that stuff. But they were like, "Well, they got meat. Let's find out what mountain lion tastes like." Yeah. And it wasn't bad. It wasn't the most delicious thing I've ever had, but I was like, well, I know I can eat mountain lion if push comes to shove, and that's what's available. It's not bad. Yeah, me, yeah. But no, I've never had a beaver. I've never had a squirrel either. Weirdly enough, you'd think I would have had squirrel at some point, but I haven't. Ostrich is pretty good. I'm trying to think of
done ostrich.
How do you feel about ostrich? Didn't like it?
Did nothing. Like
nothing?
Did nothing for me.
I liked ostrich.
It's in the same boat as have you had buffalo? And I'm like,
I like buffalo. You don't like buffalo?
If you're gonna give me a choice, I'm picking something else. Like, yeah.
You choose beef over buffalo?
Yeah. I mean, again, we're talking about like, politics aside of whether we should or not. Like, yeah, give me a burger. Like, yeah.
Okay.
I'll take a steak, please.
Fair enough. I get it. We are brought to you today by Sweetwater, specifically the Gear Exchange. You may have heard about this. This is a place where you can go to buy and sell your used gear. Maybe you got a pedal over there that's just kind of collecting dust. Maybe there's something you've been eyeing from the Sweetwater catalog. Well, right now is a great time to turn that unused gear into something you're actually going to use. Even better, if you sell on the Gear Exchange, you can keep 100% of the sale as long as you choose a Sweetwater gift card as your payout method. That is not too shabby because, let's be honest, most of this buying and selling we do is just to fund new gear purchases, and that is a great way to reach a wide variety of customers and keep 100% in your pocket, or rather on your pedal board. So go check out the Sweetwater Gear Exchange and turn that unused gear into something that's actually going to help you write that next huge riff.
Hello there. I'd like
like to introduce you to your new best friend, the Chase Bliss Audio Lossy. Lossy is a collaboration between Chase Bliss and Good Hertz. And it's meant to give you some control over those weird digital artifacts that come with very compressed audio. You're hearing it right now. All the changes that are taking place are strictly coming from my playing dynamics. I'm just interacting with the pedal and letting it do its thing. In some true stereo goodness. If you'd like some more details about Lossy, I'd invite you to head over to chaseblissaudio.com. I think you're gonna like what you find. What's the weirdest animal you've consumed?
Nothing crazy, man. Like, it's just the normal things you try when you're younger. In our, at least for me growing up, would have been. But it's like my seafood stuff. Like, but again, none of it's really crazy. It's I really haven't had a lot of opportunities to be like, we're eating this tonight. Like, other than my dad like brought home ostrich or brought home buffalo or alligator or whatever. It's just
I like gator. I actually like it. It's tasty.
I don't need it. You're good if I've got a choice. If like there's a place in Philly here that I think it's like Interstate Cafe or something like that or whatever, but they've got a lot of fried foods and whatever, and there's gator on there. I had it there recently, and I hadn't had it in like 10 years. I'm like, that's fine. Like,
yeah,
it's like saying shark. I'm like, I'd rather have tuna. If we're gonna go tuna or shark, I'm gonna go tuna.
I've never had shark.
Don't bother. It's not fatty. Like, it's not. There's nothing to it. So it's less fatty than your tuna would be. So
I love good, like, not canned tuna, but like tuna steak.
Right. So
so good.
A tuna steak, like, there's a toughness to that, right? Like, it's not like you're going through flounder and it's just filleting, like flaking right off. It's not like that. But yeah, shark is, it's a bit tougher than tuna. And I'm sure there's people going to like, whoa, you can have it prepared like this, whatever. Like, I'm also not down to be eating shark. So there's that, but
right.
Yeah, man, nothing too crazy of like, whoa, this is crazy. Like, other than like a pepper or something like that, when you like eat some crazy pepper, that's not like a exotic animal.
No, not. And on this podcast, we discuss our exotic animal consumption habits and, what those look like in 2023.
Yeah. And we'll say, like, I'm not eating like crazy meats over here, like all the time, whatever. So, the wife is vegan, so we've got a nice balance, but.
Right. Yeah. I've wondered this, but I don't know if I've ever asked you, with your wife being vegan and you not. I know you're not like as carnivorous as I am. That's like an extreme example, I suppose. But is that ever like, how does that work in the same house? Because my wife and I have talked about it before. She likes meat too. She's like, I don't know if you were vegan, I'm not sure how I would cook dinner. Like, she's like, because I like meat so much, it becomes like the centerpiece of the meal pretty much. So she's like, how would that work in a mixed household? I understand if both are vegan or both are, or both are not, but like, how does that work when you're all sitting down to dinner together?
So let me back up to even before dinner. Like, so for the preparation, I'm very lucky that Shannon is okay that we commingle our pans and stuff, pots and pans, as long as it's been washed out. We'll use it. Like, she's not going crazy over, well, there's, fats and oils that are baked into that cast iron or whatever. Like, she's not going like that kind of that extreme with it. So that really helps out. I try to, like, if we're making like homemade burgers and we're trying to make her a vegan burger, if I'm making us like hot roast beef, I'm going to make her like hot seitan and do it the same way. Okay. So I try to do the same kind of meal. And I definitely grew up in a house where it was this isn't a diner. Everyone's eating what I'm making from my dad.
Right.
And if you don't like it, too bad, then don't eat. So it's very different for here, where it's like, well, I do have to cater to another type. And like Raven Raven, my daughter, bounces back and forth between whether she's going to be eating, again, the hot roast beef that night or she wants hot seitan. So I always just, whatever I'm making for Shannon, I just make more of. So that way, if Raven's going to eat it or we're going to have some of it, then there's enough.
Well, it's not like you won't eat it, right?
It depends. It depends on how much like soy I've already had that week. My body's just really sensitive to it. So I've got to watch how much I'm consuming.
I got you.
But no, I mean, it's Shannon. Luckily, like, she's just so easygoing. And she's like, on some nights, she's not against just having something like frozen heated up, like a frozen vegan burger heated up. Like, it's not. She doesn't feel like, well, you're not cooking enough, and how come I didn't get a homemade this? But yeah, it's now if we were in a house where we had different pots and pans and all that stuff, then that
could get tricky.
It would make things really, really difficult. Or somebody who was just averse to, I don't even want to smell it cooking. And that might have been a deal breaker for us early on of like, you know, if I'm going to cook a cheesesteak, like
I'm going to cook a cheesesteak, right?
You know, or like, well, then I won't be here if you're cooking a cheesesteak, and then I'm not going to be here ever. So I lucked out.
Because I'm always cooking cheesesteak.
Yeah.
Baby.
I mean,
like
when you have it tattooed on your arm, you should be eating cheesesteaks every week.
I need to eat more cheesesteaks, I think, to be honest.
But you know, it's the whole thing of that is not a regional delicacy for your area. And if someone's going to do it, unless they're like getting the bread and doing it the same way that we're doing it here, like you're just not going to get the same.
I don't know if it's the same because I've never been over there, but I am very lucky that there is a lady from Philadelphia who opened a food cart literally like 10 minutes from my house. And she does, I've never had the real deal, but she does make the best Philly cheesesteak I have ever had.
All right.
She's from Philly. I have to just trust that she is doing as accurate representation as she can for the Pacific Northwest. I think she probably is.
Well, then when I get out to your area, because I know that the like Kevin from Congregation is talking about doing like more pedal event demo stuff. Whenever there's something that's happening out there, like I want to get out and do it. So maybe that can be on our little to-do list. That can be our outing when I get out there. You can go take me to the cheesesteak lady.
You can tell me whether she's doing it right or not.
Sure.
You can give me the info.
Because I'm super picky.
That's the perfect person to bring. So you'll give me the right. I know you'll shoot me straight.
I can't wait. I love trying a new cheesesteak.
I'm genuinely excited. I've been through this weird arc, so to speak, where about this time, not exactly, I'd been doing it for a few years, but about the time that I was, the show is big enough that when people show up here, they're like, oh, can I come by the Shred Shed and do an episode or can I hang out? By the time that was actually a thing that was being requested on a regular basis, you know, COVID, all the craziness happened. So that stopped for about 2.5 years. Nobody was asking to come over, which makes sense. But now it's starting to happen again. More events are happening. People are coming to Portland. Bands are coming through, and they're like, "Oh, can I come to the Shred Shed? Can we hang out?" And I'm like, "Oh, I forgot how good this felt.
Yeah,
that this was actually becoming a thing." So, all that to say is, you got to come by, and we'll hang out. We'll eat cheesesteak. We'll congregate. We'll do all that stuff.
Hell yeah.
Well, dude, I know you're a little bit pressed for time.
Yeah.
And we're getting close to the end of this episode.
I got jock stuff to do, man.
I know, I do too.
I got to go hit some balls.
He gots to, man.
Yeah.
He gots to. But I don't want to ask you the pizza thing again.
Okay.
Because as somebody who's been on this many times, you know, we've covered that territory.
Yeah.
But since we already are on cheesesteak land,
yes.
To you, what makes the quintessential, real deal Philly cheesesteak?
Okay.
How do you do it?
So there's actually two paths here, right? So your Philly cheesesteak, a lot of people think of like your Pats and Geno's, all right? So that's, in general, it's a pretty sloppy steak. Everything's just kind of slapped on. That's a thing, right? It's a very specific thing.
Yes.
When you cross over into like the Jersey side, right? it's a different style of cheesesteak. It's way more chopped. Everything's kind of put more into a torpedo style bun. That's where I gravitate towards, right? For me, like the Pats and Geno's thing, like if you're like having a drink or three and you're like doing the like the touristy thing, it's cool. You go and do that. But
like you got to do it while you're there type of thing. If you're not from there.
I wouldn't say you've got to do it, but if you're curious to be like, I've never had the Pats and Geno's thing, you go and do it.
Okay.
I will always gravitate towards the Jersey, the more Jersey side of it. And that's your American cheese is like already, it's melted in and mixed in pretty much with your steak. Again, it's pretty dense in how you're doing it. If you're a fried peppers person, you got to get your fried onions, fried peppers, and all that stuff. I go just ketchup, a little bit of ketchup, and steak cheese.
Oh wow!
But you got to have a good roll. It's got to be a good fresh roll. And then, actually, so I said two. There's a third option. So if you've seen the Anthony Bourdain episode for Camden, like he does donkeys in Camden, New Jersey when he's over when he's doing that whole area. So they do, it's a Kaiser poppy seed roll, so it's round. And Donkeys has always done theirs more like steak-'em style, where like it's all just left together. They don't really chop it at all.
Okay.
And then you can do whatever, you do your cheese, your ketchup or whatever, your peppers, onions, if you're going that way. But that's another like pretty sloppy steak style, where like you're definitely wiping your hands after every bite. But the whole Kaiser bun poppy seed thing, it just makes it's like a fun eat because you've got so much crunch that happens with it, along with that just goo that happens in the middle and your oil and everything. And I will say Donkeys also puts, it's like salt, pepper, paprika, maybe a touch of garlic powder or something. There's some little combination that they have in there with like 4 or 5 ingredients that they just kind of sprinkle across. And it just sets it apart because it just becomes its own kind of cheesesteak. So yeah. So if I'm going to rank them, right, I'll go for like that Jersey style Philly cheesesteak.
Is there a specific place
it used
in Jersey?
It used to be Sorrento's back in there. I may have told the Coke steak story.
Yeah.
So I know that people know that one. That was the best cheesesteak around. Now we've got 2 places one's called Dar's, and again, it's just, they make theirs on like a thicker bun, which is really nice. And the place that Dar's sprung out of, it was the original place called Skylar's, which is right down the street from me. They make a pretty good cheesesteak, but they're doing their cheesesteak in the Dar's style. So really, like Dar's is the place to go, but I can't drive 30 minutes to go to a cheesesteak all the time. So I can drive 3 minutes down the street and go to Skylar's. Tried, true, consistent, hits the spot, and that's the one. So you go,
all right,
you go to Dar's and Skylar's if you're in Jersey near Philly, and then Donkeys if you want to go for like something super unique. And
all right,
yeah, that's my.
I like it.
Steak talk.
I like it. Steak talk with Ryan. Thank you so much.
Yeah,
dude. Thank you so much for coming on.
Dude,
I know you got to fly, but I appreciate you taking the time.
Dude, I am so stoked to come back. But yeah, and thanks for letting me talk about Tyrannosaurus.
Yeah, woo!
July 14th, guys. I'm super duper stoked. I hope that people really want to do something unique with Chorus. Like, and I say that, people want to talk about transparent, unique, and blah blah blah. Like, no one else is doing something like this. So like, let's do something really weird. Step out of the box.
Let's get weird with it.
Let's get weird with it.
Yeah. All right, everybody. For Ryan, this is Blake, and as always, folks, good luck and good tones. All right, folks, there you have it. I hope you enjoyed that episode with my dude Ryan. Please make sure you go to fuzzrociouspedals.com and check out Tyrannosaurus. I should have a little clip for you in a few days showing off some of the wild sounds you can get with that pedal. It's quite fun. It's really, really cool looking. I really, really enjoy it, as I do all wonderful Fuzzrocious products. I hope you enjoyed this little bonus episode, and please hit me up on the interwebs. I'm available if you need me. Thank you all so much. Don't forget about using code TONEMOB for 10% off at stringjoy.com. And don't forget also, forgot to mention this in the beginning, we are giving away a Taylor this month. So if you've been wanting a nice acoustic, this is a good chance to get yourself some strings and maybe, possibly, maybe a nice acoustic guitar as well. Go to stringjoy.com, check that out. Tone Mob for 10% off your first order. And I appreciate everybody who has supported us over there. Thank you, 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 thank you. And please, 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 if you like this show, please rate, review, comment, all that stuff. All of it helps. Please share this around the internet. I would be eternally grateful if you would. I thank you all so much for everything. It means the world to me. I'll talk to you on the internet very soon. One last thing before we totally sign off here. I just want to remind you that if you do any shopping at Stringjoy, that's Stringjoy guitar strings made in Nashville, that will help me out as well. As I've said for years, I'm heavily involved in that company, and I really do think they're making the best products on the market. So if you would like to try custom strings, go to tonemob.com/stringjoy and check them out today. I seriously love what the team down there is doing. I help them out with all kinds of things, and by you supporting them, you are also supporting me as well. And hey, you need some strings, so why not get some custom strings just for your guitar and playing style? Again, the link for that is tonemob.com/stringjoy, and that will take you right to their website, and you can do all your shopping through there, and that will help everyone involved out. So thank you very much. Talk to you next time. We are brought to you by the wonderful folks at Gun Street Wiring Shop. Yes, Gun Street Wiring Shop. I've talked about them before. I used to say based out of Bend, Oregon, but guess what? Sean moved to my neck of the woods. Sean's in Portland. Sean is awesome and has helped me with a bunch of stuff lately. And if you have wiring needs for your guitar, he can help you too. If you want to get weird with it, he can get weird. If you just need to spruce things up a little bit, there's your guy. He takes all the guesswork out of doing your guitar wiring, and he makes it simple, and his customer service is top-notch, and I can't say enough good things about Gun Street as a company. I really respect Sean and what he's all about, and the product is top-notch. I've got 3 different guitars that now have Gun Street harnesses in them, and I could not be happier. So go to gunstreetwiringshop.com and check them out.
This is the story of Whitney Houston.
This is the story of Kurt Cobain.
Of George Michael, of Otis Redding, of Amy Winehouse, of Michael Hutchence, Bob Marley. This is the story of Prince.
It's a new podcast series
about how they died, why they died, and why we're still talking about them so long after.
It's like nothing you've ever heard before.
It's storytelling.
But it's more than that, because rock stars,
they tell us how we feel. They change our mood.
They change the clothes we wear, the people we hang out with,
the way we remember things.
It's them who give us those ludicrous moments, the ones where you're
jumping around, singing your heart out, feeling understood.
And it's those moments we'll help you remember, the ones you're thinking about right now.
That feeling.
That feeling.
It's coming soon from Crowd Network.
Just search for Death of a Rock Star on your podcast app.
And subscribe now.
Ever wonder what a punch from Elton John feels like?
Or how you'd cope with having turned down the chance to be in Nirvana?
Or what signal Keith Richards gives when he wants you to get the hell out of his hotel room?
Fans of Too Much Effing Perspective don't have to wonder, because they've heard these exact stories and a jillion others on our podcast. I'm Alex Hoffman, former tour manager for Radiohead.
And I'm musician and comedy writer Alan Keller. On the TMEP show, we get guests like Nancy Wilson from Heart, Jeremiah Freites from the Lumineers, and Modern Family's Julie Bowen to tell us things they may have only shared with their therapist, clergy, or a TMZ stringer.
So join us on Too Much Effing Perspective. That's EFFING Perspective. The only podcast you crank up to 11.